Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton and we are talking about soundtracks for the month of August, and one of the biggest soundtracks of all time, the 1977 film Saturday Night Fever, released on November 15th, 1977. Here's our old buddies, the Bee Gees, again. There they are, back at it once more. This is the best-selling soundtrack album of all time. Over 45 million copies of this were sold. In the United States, this album has been certified 16 times platinum, which is ridiculous. Stayed atop the album charts for several weeks, 24 weeks to be exact, all the way until 1978. And it stayed on the charts for 120 weeks until the early 1980s. This is the epitome of disco music. Now, on the DVD commentary to the film, the producers talk about they wanted to use the song "Low Down" by Boz Scaggs in the rehearsal scene between Tony, played by John Travolta, and Annette. But Columbia Records, they said, nah, we don't want to do it. So they had to, they wanted to do their own disco movie thing. So they turned it down. And so David Shire, the composer, who actually composed the score for this film, had to write a song to match the dance steps. And so there it was, and they eliminated that. But that track does not appear on the soundtrack. Now, the Bee Gees did not get involved until post-production. They weren't even involved with the movie at the very beginning. According to John Travolta, he was dancing to Boz Scaggs and Stevie Wonder. But Robert Stigwood, the producer, and there's that guy again, he commissioned the Bee Gees to do it. And so they were recording an album, and they recorded a few songs, and they said, we got this little film. It was called The Tribal Rights of a Saturday Night. And they said, he asked, do you have any songs? And they were like, we don't have time to write for a movie. They didn't even know anything about it. But over the course of a weekend, there at the Chateau in France, they recorded quite a few songs and wrote them. If I Can't Have You was one, even though their version was not used in the movie. Yvonne Elliman sang that. But there were quite a few others. Night Fever, More Than a Woman, and they were asking, can it be more disco-y? And so they wrote this song called Saturday Night. But there were so many songs called Saturday Night, Bay City Rollers being one. And so they rewrote it and called it Staying Alive, which became one of the biggest singles of their career, and closely associated with the Bee Gees. Like I said, I mentioned the Yvonne Elliman. There's also the Walter Murphy. A lot of Family Guy fans here know Walter Murphy, the Fifth of Beethoven, the disco version of Beethoven's Fifth. The Calypso Breakdown, Ralph McDonald. Boogie Shoes by Casey and the Sunshine Band. Disco Inferno by the Tramps. Open Sesame. And then, of course, the David Shire tunes. Manhattan Skyline, Night on Disco Mountain, the Bald Mountain disco version, and Salsation. Tavares, Yvonne Elliman, Tavares did More Than a Woman. Big singles. Iconic album, the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. I had to include it in my soundtrack month here in August. So here it is, Saturday Night Fever, featuring our old pals, the Brothers Gibb. Once again, like, comment, subscribe, share, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. In the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.